Hi y'all, long time no see. I'm coming to you with a video to explain where I've been on YouTube for the past month or so. I really wanted to talk to you guys, one, because I miss you, but two, because I fully recognize that I said I finished up Mass Effect and I had 2 more videos I was gonna post, and I talked about posting them back to back, and then I just didn't post them, and I've been gone. Before I even get into any of the why, I just want to apologize for that. I'm really sorry. If everything I'm about to talk about hadn't happened, believe me, I would be posting on YouTube, but I have not had the opportunity to be editing my videos, let alone posting them and being on YouTube at all. It's been a really hard past month, and so I just wanted to talk to all of you about that. It's going to be probably a long-winded video just because that's kind of the storyteller that I am, and also, like I said, there's been a lot that's been going on. So here I am. Again, I'm really sorry that I've been gone and not posted things after I literally made a community post saying I would. I hope my explanation gives a little bit of insight into what's been going on with my life and lets you know that I'm not just gone because I can be, if that makes sense. I don't even know where to begin because there's so much information, but basically the TLDR is the house that I rent with my boyfriend has suffered some very severe weather damage to the point where it has been deemed unlivable, and it's been incredibly disruptive to our lives. And that's just like the quick way of saying what's been going on. It's been a hot mess. Nothing has been fixed yet. It's been over a month. Let me just start with the beginning of everything. It was June 4th when I posted that Mass Effect video, Legion's Loyalty Mission. That's the most recent video that I've posted on Mass Effect. I also recorded some Fran Bow that day, and when I got done recording Fran Bow, I realized that the carpet in my office, about a yard and a half, 5 feet or so, from the wall was soaking wet. Like, put your hands on the carpet and you take it away and it looks like you went swimming. It's so wet, like it's dripping. And my partner and I hadn't noticed that before. I don't spend a whole lot of time rubbing my hands on the carpet, and my desk doesn't sit on the portion that was soaking wet, thank God, because my computer sits on the floor under my desk. So small mercies, right? But I had noticed some discoloration on the wall that I hadn't thought much of because I live in an old house. It's got a whole lot of quirks, and because it's a rental, landlords have put very minimal effort into the house. So it's got its things going on in places, and I'm like, yep, that's just part of the rental house. Well, we looked back at photos that we had taken before we moved in, and we realized it hadn't been there. And so I decided to look behind the chair that I had lying against that wall that sits in the background of my videos, because there's not a whole lot of ventilation behind that chair. It's covering up a wall that I'd literally never see. And I looked behind it, and there was a massive black spot in the corner of the wall. We clearly had some serious mold damage because water had been leaking into our house so bad that for God knows how long it'd been soaking our carpet. We often get pretty heavy spring rains where I live, but we've had oh my God, hold on, sorry, my cats are freaking out, 1 second. Anyway, we've had record rainfall, thunderstorms, lightning storms, like what felt like multiple times a week, every week, for like 2 months straight. It was nonstop spring rains, and so there's been a lot. I'm assuming that's why it happened now as opposed to having happened in previous years of spring rain. So that day we send in a maintenance request to our landlords. Again, that's June 4th. And we send pictures, and I'm like, there's clearly mold. I don't feel super comfortable working down here, but I stay down there anyways because it's, where I record, it's where I work. I spend the vast majority of my day in that office. Our landlords get some contractors scheduled to come out and inspect all of the damage for the 6th of June. And then the 6th of June comes and goes, and we hear absolutely nothing from the contractors. They don't show up. There is nothing, no conversation. We get a hold of them the following day. They had a family emergency, so completely understand these things happen. And we rescheduled for the 11th, and they're waterproofing guys. So they were going to come out and take a look at why we have clearly a leak in our drywall and how damaging it's been, what's been going on, and what they can do about it. They come out on the 11th and they're like, oh yeah, you have a massive crack in the foundation of your house. It is structurally very problematic and it's been leaking in here, and you have damage in more than just your office. There's damage in your laundry room, there's damage in the utility room, all over the basement. It's terrible, but the biggest visual indication of it is my office, again with all of the mold, which my landlords call discoloration, because if they legally called up mold or mildew, they would have to do something about it. So anyway, waterproofing guys come out and are like, wow, I wouldn't live here, it's awful. And I'm like, yep, understand. I don't want to live here either. I feel pretty concerned for my health with the level of mold that's on the walls and the carpet that's clearly disgustingly soaking wet and rotting. But it costs money to break our lease. It costs money to put a security deposit down somewhere else. It costs money to move in with rent for first month and last month. It costs money to move all of your stuff. It also costs a lot of time. It's all hard. It's just very challenging. It's not a super feasible thing for us to do, even though I don't feel comfortable with that room or with that house. 2 days after the waterproofing guys come out, we got someone from the landlord office to come out, and he was like, yeah, this house is not livable. If they were to sell this house as is, they legally could not do it because people could not live there. And yet we're still here. No one's doing anything about it. I can't use that office. It's disgusting. And he's like, don't work too hard down here. And I'm like, I will certainly try not to, but what can I do? Because this is what I have. All of my stuff is down here, my whole setup and everything. So I'm just like quietly anxious, quietly very frustrated and unhappy and feeling disrupted in my life about this, but trying to put on a good face because I've done what I have control over, and it's just upsetting to have to deal with maintenance like that. Very shortly after the guy from our landlord's company comes out, again, this is after June 13th, it's been over a week since we put in this maintenance request that there's been damage, mushrooms start growing on my carpet. They sprouted up a little bit in the carpet, a little bit in the wood, and I'm like, this is bad. Our carpet is rotting so bad, mushrooms are growing. We have literal carpet shrooms growing inside my house from the water damage. I'm just like, this is not safe. This is not healthy. This is not legal to live in. So we send an updated maintenance request and they're like, hey guys, mushrooms are growing. Please do something. And we look up our tenant rights, and they had a very specific amount of time to deal with everything. Whole different conversation, but that time has come and gone. By the time anybody comes out to do literally anything, it is June 20th. And again, June 4th is when we put in this maintenance request, and I'm sitting here feeling like this is an emergency. This needs to get taken care of. It's preventing me from being productive at all. It's preventing me from like being able to do any work, make any money, like literally even just live. And also it's extremely unhealthy, which is excuse enough. Like we don't really need any other excuses, right? If it's unhealthy, that's basically it. And also we're paying rent, so if we need maintenance done, come do our maintenance, please. And I knew it rained a lot, so there's patience with things taking time. I understand that there's a wait for things, but there had been absolutely no communication, and there were definitely steps that could have been taken to mitigate the issue if we had to wait due to the busyness of contractors. But there was absolutely nothing from the landlords at all. Nothing, didn't hear anything. Guys are scheduled to come out on the 20th, finally, these water sealing guys. We don't hear anything from them about what's going on, so we just assume that they're gonna be actually doing stuff with the crack in the wall, so we take literally everything out of my office. They come and they seal the crack in the wall. They just use like spray foam inside the crack. I have no idea whether or not that's considered an adequate job. we asked on Reddit, and Reddit was like, it could be better. And I was like, that tracks. They cut open all of my drywall, but not all parts of it that need to be cut open, that have all of the mold on the inside. And then they tear up the carpet and leave with it like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. When are they coming back to fix it? Because our maintenance app, once they left, basically said, hey, your maintenance has been completed, and there was no indication that they had any future jobs to do with renovating the room. So we hear nothing from them, and I'm like, great, this is happening on like a Thursday. There's no way this is getting done over the weekend, so we have to live with this office completely ripped up, mold, spores, and fungus exposed to everything. And I'm like, I'm not going in that room. It feels yucky, it feels unhealthy, it makes me sad and unhappy, so I'm not going into that room. And meanwhile, our basement is basically unusable because all of my stuff from the office is all over the basement. It's not like our house is massive anyway, so it doesn't take a lot to fill up the whole space. On the 21st, we put in another maintenance request because we hadn't heard anything about what the next steps were. Again, it seemed like on their end, they considered the job to be completely done because there was no open maintenance left. They'd completely closed to the ticket. And with my new maintenance request, they schedule those same waterproofing guys to come back out. They're scheduled to come out on the 24th, and then the morning of the 24th, they reschedule with no notice, and they mark it as a resident reschedule, even though it definitely wasn't us rescheduling. And they reschedule it for like the 27th or something like that. And then the 27th comes and goes, and they also don't show up. And 30 minutes before their window starts, they reschedule again marking it as a resident reschedule for July 9th. And I'm like, okay, I've been so patient. I've been so understanding. This has been incredibly disruptive to me and my neurodivergent brain. I have a really hard time without a routine, but because of neurodivergence, it's extremely hard to have a routine in the first place. And so this is bonkers disruptive to me. It's hindering my productivity. It's hindering my ability to make money. At that point, I was currently sharing an office with my boyfriend, but he works from home and he's in meetings all day. And so I'm sharing a 10-foot wide space with him and not getting much privacy. Either of us are with what we're doing. And I have this problem. I don't know if any of you relate to it, but I have this problem where even if someone's not looking at me, if I think that they're perceiving my physical being in any way, or I'm sharing the room with them and trying to get work done, I just cannot be productive because it feels like there are eyes on me and I can't do it. And it's just a stupid brain block that I have, but it ruined my ability to be productive. And plus, this is such a lame thing to say, but I was using one of his single extra old 24-inch monitors, and when you've gotten used to having two 27-inch monitors to do all of your work on, it is so hard to go back to a single 24-inch monitor. And then I didn't have any space for any of my recording setup or any of the setup stuff that I use. Like, I use this mic and camera for like meetings and things like that, so it's I had nothing, and I was trying so hard to be chill about it, and I'm like so calm in real life. Really takes so much to actively make me angry. Like, I don't get angry about things, but this was getting so upsetting to me. Like, we are growing mushrooms in the basement. My drywall is open and exposing all of the mold and nastiness into the air. We can't use any of our basement because this room is unusable, and the basement has all of my stuff all over it. Someone from our landlord's company literally said this house was unlivable, and they've done nothing about it. So when they rescheduled to July 9th, I'm like, that is an unacceptable amount of time when, based on where we live and the tenant rights that we have for where we live, this was supposed to be resolved, considering it's an emergency, weeks prior to when they had done that. Like, they had a very specific amount of time to resolve everything, and they didn't. So I then called the emergency maintenance line and explained to this very, very nice woman everything that was going on, and she was super helpful and said that she would call these waterproofing guys to be like, hey man, what's the deal? Why have you rescheduled 4 times? What's going on? She calls them and they're like, oh yeah, we don't do what they need done. And she was like, I don't know why they kept rescheduling then and didn't just say they couldn't do the job. So she calls someone else for us and asks them if they can help out. And they're like, oh yeah, this sounds good. She puts in a maintenance request. I'm at the gym when they call me, and not a big deal, but I can't answer the phone. So then it just turns into me having to play phone tag, which, like I said, not a big deal. But when I'm already feeling like major burnout because of all of this, calling someone back has me at like the end of my rope. It was so much. It's been so much to deal with. Like feeling displaced in your own home and having your routine and just your whole life being so disrupted has been extremely taxing. It's been so hard. On top of all of this is a side tangent that I don't really want to get into, but I felt like it's relevant to say. We euthanized my childhood cat right when all of this was happening. So I'm grieving while dealing with all of this, and it just is so hard, so challenging. She calls the other guys, they call us. I have to play phone tag with them. They get scheduled. The day before those guys are scheduled to come out, they call my boyfriend and they tell him, hey man, we looked at the ticket and we don't think we can actually do what we were scheduled to do. So I'm like, again, like different guys are doing the same thing. And so they cancel. And then the next day, when their appointment was originally set to happen before they canceled, they called my boyfriend and were like, hey, we'll be there in like an hour. And he was like, well, you guys canceled yesterday. What's up with that? And they said, oh, well, you're still on my schedule, so like I can still come over and just check things out. The man never shows. And so my boyfriend then calls the emergency maintenance line again, and they're like, this time, well, we need someone to come out and inspect what's been done to make sure we can move forward with the actual repairs. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense. Why didn't that happen right after everything? Why did we have to like put in a maintenance request to get this done and call to get this done? Because again, there was no indication that it was going to get done at all. If we hadn't told them, hey, there's some more stuff that needs to get done because the drywall is shredded and the carpet's ripped up. So the guy comes out because he, one, has to look at everything to just see what the damage is basically and what they're gonna have to do to fix it. And two, he saw the work that the previous water sealing guys did and wasn't super convinced that what they did was helpful. I can't judge on any of these things because I don't know how to do any of it. So from that guy's perspective, it wasn't a great job and he wanted to come look at everything. He comes out, he put in a bid, and he was like, hey, it's gonna take at least 4 visits to fix this. Their first visit was yesterday, June 5th. They tore up all of the flooring in my office and in the laundry room, and they cut open all of the affected drywall. So they've done a lot more work than the previous contractors did, and they're scheduled to come back on Monday. Thankfully, I don't know what's going to happen, but they've, after a month of waiting, literally progress has been starting to get made on renovating the room and getting rid of all of the health issues and violations. So that's where we're at. It's been stressful. We finally moved my stuff into this room, which is not my boyfriend's office. It is our spare bedroom. There is a bed, as you can see in the background here, that we pulled apart. This room is super messy. It is full to the brim of furniture, but it works for the time being. I don't know if I'll be here in this room forever. I don't even know if we're gonna stay in this house because, again, this is a whole other conversation, but there's a lot of legal recourse we have with having our landlords help us move out and rental reduction and whatever that we need to tackle. We've talked to a pro bono lawyer and it's just been bonkers. One of my boyfriend's close friends is a lawyer, so it's just like, there's a lot of things that we have to figure out, but basically what I know right now is I am up in this room and it's stressful. I have been using a very old desk that wobbles with the slightest touch. Let me show you. Do you see that? Like, it's bad. It's cheap ass IKEA legs. I don't have any working headphones anymore because my nice headphones that I used to use, I told you before in another video that my cat chewed them up, and then I bought some cheapy headphones that were like $10 to replace them until I could afford a new pair. And then literally 2 days ago, those broke. So I have no functioning headphones right now. And so I've just been like at the end of my rope. I'm trying so hard to be cool about it, but I've just been having a very hard time emotionally with all of this going on. And when you have a space that doesn't feel like you, it doesn't feel like it has any space for you, and you feel disrupted in your own home, I hope you guys can sympathize with how hard that would be, because I really don't want to make it seem like I'm complaining or like mean or awful or anything, because I'm not that kind of person, and it's been very disruptive and stressful and an extreme test of my abilities in every way. So that's where I am now. I am desperately hoping for a new desk and some new headphones and a way to make the space that I'm in maybe feel a little bit more like me, and maybe a little bit more both fun for gaming and professional at the same time in the background, because clearly a ripped up bed is not doing it for me. But everything is super expensive. I don't often ask for help. In fact, I'm quite bad at it. I'm someone that really likes to do everything on their own. But if you are interested or in a financial spot to be able to help in any way, I do have a channel wish list on Throne from before when people have requested to send things to me. I have a desk and some headphones on there, but please know I don't expect anything at all, and you're also never ever obligated to contribute anything. I know that times are extremely tough for people. I know that people have to live quite lean, and I don't expect anything. It won't change how I feel about anybody. I appreciate all of you endlessly, no matter whether or not you're ever able to contribute to anything with my YouTube channel. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you're in a spot to help, I would so appreciate it. I feel uncomfortable even asking, but I thought I'd throw it out there. Regardless, thank you so much. You all mean so much to me. But yeah, so that's everything that's been going on. This whole situation has really pushed me to want to start a Discord community, because I think it's a really good way to stay in contact with you guys when things like this happen. And I also started my YouTube channel as a way to find a community of like-minded people and people to hang out with, and I think a Discord community would be great for that. I've talked about it a long time ago, but just nothing happened with it because my life had been so busy. But this has really pushed me to want to make one. So I'm wondering if anybody would be interested. I think it'd be a fun way to stay connected and maybe play some games together. If you are, please let me know. I'm, of course, always taking thoughts on that. If anybody wants to help mod, let me know. You can message me on Discord. Same handle if you want. Renwraiths, just like Lord of the Rings, Ringwraiths, but with my name, Renwraiths. Comment on the YouTube video. Do whatever it is that you'd like. You can reach out to me on Twitter as well. Again, same handle. But yeah, I just thought it'd be nice to start a Discord community, and I think we're at the point in the channel where it would be helpful. So yeah, just let me know what you think. In the midst of all of this, I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate and D&D with my friends, playing a Twilight Cleric. She's very fun. It's been helping keep my head above waters and kind of help keep the mood up. I hope things have been well with all of you. I'm looking forward to hearing what's been going on. If you've listened through all of this video, you can have a little fun fact about me and also my forever love. Thank you so much for listening all the way in. But the fun fact about me is I freaking love beets, okay? I know that's very Dwight Schrute of me, but like I love beets. My boyfriend hates them. He says they taste like dirt, and I'm like, that's exactly why I love them. They're so earthy. I just feel connected with the soil when I eat them. I love them so much. They're so good. They're delicious. If you don't like them, great, more for me. There's your secret for listening all the way through. Leave a comment about beets below. Let me know if you like them or not, and that's how I'll know you watched everything. And then I also wanted to give one more giant I'm sorry for not having posted on YouTube. Everything has been bonkers, and I hope this video helps give you a little bit of clarity as to what's been going on. Let me know what you've been up to. As always, thank you so much for spending a little slice of your day with me. If you'd like to support me or the channel, links are in the description. Subscribe if you feel so inclined. Have a wonderful rest of your day and an even better rest of your week. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye, y'all.